For those who can't afford a guided elk hunt on a private ranch or a fly fishing trip to the Amazon, this show is for you. This is Budget Outdoors TV, your source of high-quality fishing and hunting locations that are affordable. You won't see us staying in fancy lodges, just over-the-counter, public land, do-it-yourself trips. Our goal is to motivate you to spend less and get out more.
I've been waiting for this trip for a long time. I have had my tags pretty much all year. I've been thinking about this trip, and man, I'm excited to be here. And we're hunting with Tom Hines today. He is one of the outfitters in this unit. Just a character. This guy is so fun to hunt with, so I'm really excited to be with him. We'll see what happens. Forecast is snow and cold and more snow, so we'll get up in elk camp, and hopefully the elk are out active all day. So we flew into the Missoula airport. Got into the cabins and sighted in the rifle, right? You always want to sight in the rifle because it could get bumped on the plane. You never know what the guys are doing with the luggage. And so we got in there and we sighted the rifle, right? And we didn't have the bench to sight in the rifle. So we parked the truck out there in the field, got the sights kind of set in, kind of get everything dialed up on my loop bolt scope, and took the first shot, and I was off a little bit. And I was not very happy because I'm normally just dead on, right? But we're up at maybe 3,400 feet elevation. In Oregon, I'm at like 0. We're like the elevation is like 0. And so I was a little bit disappointed. And Tom said, all right, well, it's just a cold bore, so let's shoot again, all right? So I kind of got on there and I got set and I shot again, and I was actually high on that one too. So I was not very happy with it, but for this hunt, Tom said, dude, that's totally fine. But almost right center.
Which is dead on for if you don't have the dial-in scopes. I like mine at 1.5 inches high at 100 yards. Zeroed at 200.
Alrighty, so we just sighted in the rifle, and we're ready to go up to elk camp. And Tom says it's sighted in pretty good. So normally I'd be a little bit critical about those shots, but we're not going to see elk more than 100 yards away. So he was just saying he's shot his at 37 yards. So
it's not sitting on the firing pin. You have to put it on fire. Obviously make sure it's empty, and pull your trigger. Shut your bolt at the same time. Then you won't even go on safety because it's not cocked at all. And you can feel it. See, now there's nothing there. It's not.
This is winter storm warning. It remains in effect from 3 p.m. this afternoon to 6 p.m. on Saturday. It says wet, heavy snow, 9 to 14 inches. Significantly cold wind chill as low as 20 below. Could cause frostbite and exposed skin in as little as 30 minutes. That will be interesting. I've never been that cold. I've lived in Montana for a couple of years, but this is what people think of when they think of Montana. They think of cold. If I get all this, let's see if I get this right. So we sighted in the rifle, headed up to elk camp, right? So heading up to elk camp is like going up some mountain in New Zealand or Mount Everest. We're climbing up and up and up, and you've got these rocks everywhere, these rock slides, and you're looking down, and it's just, the cliffs are just like steep like that, and you're kind of driving, and it's about a foot of snow, and you're kind of driving the Jeep, and the Jeep's just kind of sliding every once in a while. You're kind of looking down and looking at Tom, and the whole time Tom's just, no problem. This is just no problem. He's just very confident. Anyways, we get all the way up to elk camp, We park the vehicles, and it's about a 1.2 mile hike down into elk camp. So I've got all my gear. We got all the camera gear and everything on my back. We get into elk camp, and
the snowfall that they were warning us about hadn't even started yet. We've had record snowfall. I've never experienced this since I've ever been in this camp. It's incredible.
Probably one of the most challenging opening weeks I've ever been on because of the heavy snow load and the cold weather. It was great for hunting because the elk hunkered down during the coldest part of it, and then they started to move 2 days later, and which was evident to the guys that were hunting because there was more critters out there. You got to get in with the cows, got to get in, take footage of those. But it was a challenge because it was so cold initially and there was so much snow. So one of the most challenging opening weeks I've ever been at, and I've been to a lot of them.
The particular hunt we've taken this week was exceptional. Record snowfalls. We've never seen this, and all the time I've been in this camp since '95. I've never seen this much snow October 23rd. It's incredible.
We're almost at zero in Oregon. We're almost at maybe 300-foot elevation in Oregon. And so that took me a really long time to kind of get in there and get acclimated with that.
Yeah, physically it's a tough hunt. And to add 3.5 feet of snow to it, yeah, it's not easy. When you come into the camp, it's a very physical hunt to begin with. And we would usually tell people they need to be in shape for this hunt. And that's the first thing I tell them when they call me and ask for this hunt. You cannot hunt this country without being in shape.
I mean, I wasn't in shape for this kind of stuff. I thought I was in shape, doing my exercises at home, but I was just huffing and puffing and taking, breaks, and, I'd kind of follow up, and Tom would always have to wait for us because I was out of shape.
How much do you think you should have trained for this?
I wasn't trained enough for this. I was very undertrained.
It's not a ranch hunt. You cannot drive out in a pickup, and it's not a fenced hunt. It's public ground. It's hunting. It's real hunting.
And sub-zero temperatures in the morning. And walking through that snow was like putting 10-pound weights on each of your legs and walking on a Stairmaster all day.
Anybody can hunt here, but the reason why they don't is because we know the country. To get to our camp is very difficult, even in a vehicle. And then the hike in there, you have to know what you're doing, and this is not easy hunting ground, and not everybody can do it.
So day one of the hunt, I was so excited to be in there. It's snowy, it's cold, I'm excited, it's the elk opener, I've got Tom as my guide. Like, the most exciting thing about day one was getting in there in the anticipation of what are we gonna see over the next ridge? What are we gonna see between these trees? And you're kind of hiking and kind of looking around, looking left and right, trying to see game.
We'll most likely see bulls with the cows, or at least one bull with the cows still possible. The younger ones, the big bull, possible still to see them with the cows too right now. But once the shooting starts, or they know that it's hunting season there, and then they start splitting off. So, but opening week, no, there's everybody still hanging with the cows. They're not too far from them. This is more snow than we've ever had opening week, ever. This is end of hunting season snow.
When we finally came up to these group of cows, I'm kind of sitting there and I'm like, oh my, Tom, there's cow elk up there.
That all of a sudden we were talking and Eric said, oh my God, there's an elk. My back was turned and I looked, I'm like, oh my God, there is. And these elk walked right to us within 35 yards of us.
When we see these cows filtering, one after another, after another. And Tom goes, if there's a bull in there, you got to get ready for him. So I've got my rifle up, and I'm kind of sitting there, and I see a cow go by, and another cowboy. Well, there's 5 or 6 cows go by. This is the first day of the hunt. He's got us into elk already. And I'm kind of looking at him. We're waiting for the bull. We're thinking maybe there's a bull with some other cows in there.
Didn't even have a clue we were there. And we got great film. No bulls, unfortunately, but incredible to see, and it was exciting for everybody to see these elk walk right to us, and the anticipation of possibly a bull walking out behind them.
Yeah, one by one, these cows were coming up, right? And I've got my rifle, and no, cow, cow, cow. Tom's kind of coaching me, you know, and I'm looking at them, and then they kind of come around, and then they're headed like right towards me, and that lead cow is coming right in. She got about 35 yards, and she's just dead staring right at me. And I've never had an experience like that ever in all the hunting I've ever done, bow hunting, rifle hunting. That cow was 35, 40 yards just looking right at my face. I couldn't believe it. She was just standing there looking right at me, and then all of a sudden, you know, she knew, okay, there's a bunch of people standing there. This doesn't look normal. And then she kind of went off, right? And this is day 1 of the hunt.
I think it must be below 0 because that's what my fingers feel like right now. The camera's just gonna fall out of my hands. Just wait, yeah.
You warming up?
I'm getting warm now. Fingers are cold though, but we gotta do, I think this might be Eric's job over here, I'm thinking.
Tom started bringing Buddy on hunts. Buddy was old enough to make it in. Buddy is Tom's companion in life. The two of them are inseparable. Buddy is his boy. Buddy loves chasing snowballs. Buddy will drown himself in a sprinkler. Just a great dog. He hangs out in camp with me while Tom goes hunting. When Tom gets back and it's my turn to go hunting, then Tom and Buddy will hang out in camp.
Day 2, we get out there, you know, we're getting up early, we're getting out there, and we're just hiking up and down, and we're putting on the miles, right? The snow is a blessing because you get to see all these elk tracks. It's hard to tell which way they're going, and the elk tracks are really nice because, oh, there's been elk here through here. It's just about 10:22 in the morning. We hiked, we're actually up pretty high in elevation when we climbed up here. We hadn't seen any elk sign all morning. Anyways, we got up here and we saw all these beds and all these like grassy areas that they were kind of pawing in to find some grass underneath the snow. But it's really difficult because there's so many elk. They're just kind of circling around, and you'll think, okay, they went this way, and you'll follow the trail and it'll loop back to the group here. It's been bedded, but there's probably 10 beds here. This is the best sign, and it's fresh. It's probably from earlier this morning or like late last night. So we're trying to figure out a good game plan, but this is probably the closest we've been to a big bull.
He may be heading right where we could have just went from the other direction. We'll see. Anyway, it's worth a shot. These elk are coming back here again.
Really?
I would think they would come back. Most of the time they do. We've seen them in here already once. And now look at all the mass in here now. So I just wish we would have been here when they were here. That'd have been pretty cool. But when you leave the tent at 10 o'clock and doing interviews and stuff like that, it just doesn't conducive to hunting.
Don't blame that on me.
All right, let's go get him out. My feet are getting cold. So are his.
Day 3, we're getting up and get up early. We're really well fed by Bob. We say goodbye to Buddy and Bob, and we kind of take off. And day 3 was a cold morning. We got up and we get out there. We've got all of our gear on, and it's a little bit hot as we're kind of going and kind of hiking, that sort of thing. And we didn't see as much game. We saw a lot of deer that day. And we put a lot of miles. We saw a lot of tracks. We saw a lot of beds.
Oh. Freezing. That wind comes, it's cold.
Day 3, didn't see as much game, didn't see any bulls, I don't think we saw any elk that day. Lots of deer. We saw deer every day.
Up to the honey hole, which is Tom's favorite spot. So right beyond this ridge is where it gets really good.
So Tom has this area that he calls the honey hole. And he calls that because there are elk and deer all over there. Every day we went in there, we saw animals.
This is where I concentrated the hunt on this one because of the snow was our go-to spot. We call it the honey hole. It's incredible. We've killed so many bulls out of this spot.
We're almost to our prime spot. Hopefully we can go over here and the wind will kind of settle down a little bit. Mule deer right there. It looks like a doe. I can see her in my scope kind of walking away. And we're thinking there's a buck with her, maybe. Hey. Buck. Big buck. Mule deer. Big buck. Eric, look right up through there. Right up through there. Past that little tree. Look. Oh, there he is. Oh my God, that's a nice buck. Oh my goodness. See him? Yeah, I see him right there. Oh my God. There he goes. Holy crap, dude. That was a dandy. Oh, that look. Can you see that? I can't even see it. Just looking right now. You can barely make him out. He's there. He stuck his head down. When I first saw that, that was an elk. I just got saw a brown patch of hair. I can't believe you can see that. Oh my God, that was a big buck. You know, we're at the magic hour in the morning where those animals are on the move, so it's pretty cool to see that huge buck. I mean, that buck was huge. That was cool. It's the biggest buck I've ever seen. That was awesome.
We had this situation where Tom had seen this whitetail buck, and we're coming up on him, and I get set up on a tree, and we can't quite see his antlers. We're looking at the body of the buck.
There's a whitetail buck, which Eric can shoot. And I'm like, and we can't see its head. The whole body, he has a perfect shot for a body shot. I know it's a buck, he knows it's a buck. We don't know how big, I'm trying to see the antlers. It is a buck, but pretty small, I think. I
all I see is a tiny tip of an antler. Barely past. It's not. I just needed to turn. That's a good shot, isn't it, for you or no?
That tree. Like I'd have to throw
Oh, gotcha.
to get the little tree in the way.
Oh. Just a sec. He's yeah, it's only like a little spike. It's not very big. It might be that same tiny spike. Yeah, he was just a tiny buck. So I'm like, no, we gotta let him grow a little bit. He's young.
Had it been a big buck, I would have had my first whitetail buck. I've never killed a buck to this day, so just that anticipation and looking through the rifle. Day 4 was phenomenal. We saw so many elk. We're following these tracks. Because of Tom, we find this bed.
Pretty late in the morning, it's 10:22. We came up here, we saw all these beds. It's the freshest sign we've probably seen all week. And there are beds upon beds upon beds.
And then we find these tracks, and it leads right into this big group of elk, right?
It moved. I can't see it well. It's going that way. It had the color of a bull, but I saw an ear and I didn't see any antlers, so it could be a spike too. Lighter colored. But the sun was hitting it.
And we have 3 or 4 cow elk that we're sneaking up on. We get within 30, 40 yards of these cow elk. Again, just a phenomenal experience. I mean, they're kind of looking around. We're right there and we can see them.
Oh, we just stood up. Those are both cows. We find where the elk have left this melee, and we get into the elk. And I happen to put the binoculars up, and Eric spots him, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a cow, yep. I put the binoculars up to look at the cow, thinking, well, that's kind of weird, but okay. And I'm watching her, and a huge bull comes through my binoculars. Over here. You see?
Oh my God, he got so excited because he kind of looked up with his binoculars and he's, oh my God, there's a bull. There's a bull right there.
I saw in the binoculars and got so damn excited as a guide. I mean, sorry, if you don't get excited about seeing a bull, then why hunt?
And to see Tom get so excited, I got like 10 out of 10 excitement. I was so excited because, oh my God, there must be a big bull there.
But unfortunately, this bull, Eric got to see it, and he's an incredible bull, huge. And he got to see him through his scope. And just to see what his facial expression when he saw that rack and that bull and looked at us like, oh my God, and thinking that we still had a chance, and we did, but they just didn't cooperate. As it is, it's hunting and not harvesting, so.
Had he come down another 50 yards, I would have had the biggest bull that I've ever seen in my life. I mean,
we proceeded to follow those elk tracks for quite some time, and unfortunately, it's very steep country, and when they head downhill in 3 feet of snow, you have to think about where you're going and physical abilities to get back. And it's unfortunately we couldn't hunt like we normally do because of the historic depth of the snow this year, opening day. It's unreal.
So the reason I hired Tom as a guide is because he knows this area better than anybody else. He is the only outfitter in this unit, and he knows it like the back of his hand. I mean, the guy knows every ridge, every peak. He knows every ridge and every valley of this area, and he is just a wealth of knowledge.
If we go too far down, then there's a pretty dark ravine there that I'd rather stay out of that if we can. But maybe we'll go down to that, see if we can see the tracks.
He's a diehard hunter. He can smell elk sitting in his car at McDonald's, and they're 4 miles away, and he'll pull up his binoculars, and there they are. See, I told you. I can smell them. That's just the way he is.
Is this deer or elk? I can see the dirt in it. That's how fresh it is. Well, they went through the water back here. We're gonna see him any minute.
That is, that's the bull. I shot that bull. Backing up. That's my bull there. That's one of my better bulls.
Tom is not an expensive outfitter. He is not an expensive guide. And he is one of the most dedicated elk hunters I've ever met in my life. I mean, the guy lives for elk hunting. What I want people to take away from this is it's not about harvesting a bull. It's not about harvesting a high-scoring bull. It's about the experience, and it's about the hunt. And you know, when you're hunting and you're on a budget, it's about the hunt. And that's why it fits on this TV show so well, because it just ended up perfect. Like when I was thinking about coming out here and doing this show, this is exactly how I wanted it to end up. I mean, no more and no less. It's just incredible.
Nothing. Push the button. Okay.
Volume up. In.
And these cows kind of come up and they leaning over the oh gosh, yeah.
Bob wasn't. Okay. Again.
I used 2 pair, and I'm fresh as a daisy.
Okay. Okay, good.
Sounds ringtone. And there's a white-tailed deer. There's 2 white-tailed deer right there. Yeah.
All right, how about that one? Oh, yeah.
Is this video? Oh yeah. You gotta have it horizontal. Oh, that's right. I like who's sitting up last night like I couldn't sleep. Like, you freaked me out.
All right, I'm leaving. I'm like, I'm not even ready yet. He just takes off. Everybody does that to me. They just leave.
Oh.